Imagine living a life where pain, death, and poverty no longer hold power over you. A life where your only concern is to live with integrity, to grow, and to fulfill your true potential. This is the heart of Stoicism. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most revered Stoic philosophers, embodied this mindset. His personal reflections, later compiled into the timeless work Meditations, offer more than historical wisdom. They offer a practical guide to navigating the chaos of life with clarity and courage. Now, the idea of being a great person might feel abstract, even distant, but Marcus lived a life that made him undeniably worthy of that title. This isn't a self-help pitch. It's an invitation to see how ancient philosophy can address modern struggles, and to show you how his teachings still apply today. Let's go back to his world. Marcus Aurelius ruled as Emperor of Rome from 161 to 180 AD. He was the last of the 5 good emperors, leading during the Pax Romana, a rare era of peace and stability in the Roman Empire. But peace didn't mean ease. His reign was marked by relentless trials, the Marcomannic Wars, fierce battles against invading tribes, and the Antonine Plague, a deadly pandemic that ravaged the empire. Despite these pressures, Marcus remained grounded in philosophy. At that time, the Roman emperor wasn't just a ruler, he was the most powerful man in the known world. With no real borders beyond Rome's domain, there was no higher authority, no limits. He had unrestricted access to anything: wealth, pleasure, excess. In Roman high society, indulgence was expected. The emperor could have anything: wine, women, luxury, status, without question or consequence. But here's what makes Marcus different. He had every opportunity to lose himself in power, every temptation at his fingertips. And yet, he chose virtue, not because he had to, but because he believed it was the right path. For 19 years, through war, loss, and absolute power, he chose to be good. And being good in the face of extreme temptation? That's what makes someone great. But to choose goodness purely for its own sake, that is truly extraordinary. Now imagine yourself in his place. For nearly 2 decades, you hold the highest power known to man. No law can bind you. No consequence awaits your indulgence. Would you resist temptation every day? Would you live with discipline, humility, and restraint when no one could stop you if you didn't? It's a difficult question. If I'm being honest, I don't know if I could match the standard Marcus Aurelius set. But that's what makes his example so powerful. We get a rare glimpse into his inner world through his personal journal, what we now know as Meditations. Originally never meant for anyone's eyes but his own, these writings were raw reflections, reminders, and philosophical exercises meant to guide his own character. Spontaneous and unfiltered, yet they've become one of the most moving and enduring works in human history. Divided into 12 sections and spanning roughly 150 pages, Meditations is not a book of quotes. It's a map of the soul, a candid self-examination from the most powerful man in the world who is trying every day to remain good. You should read it for yourself. It's in nearly every library and bookstore on earth. But for now, let's look at a few core ideas that reveal the heart of Marcus's Stoic practice. First, Marcus believed in living according to nature. Not just nature, as in trees or animals, but the natural order of the universe. A tree grows tall and strong not for attention, but because growth is its nature. A caterpillar becomes a butterfly, not out of desire, but because it must. And for Marcus, the same was true of us. Nature made you human, and that means you have a duty to become the most virtuous, kind, and capable version of yourself. Not to chase wealth, not to hoard accolades, but to live rightly, to fulfill your role with grace and strength. To waste your potential, he believed, was the deepest failure imaginable. Another cornerstone of Stoicism. You don't control external events, but you do control how you respond to them. Whatever storms come, whatever misfortunes, betrayals, or pain, you still have power over your character. As emperor, Marcus faced constant trials, wars, plague, political tension. But one of his greatest lessons was about how to deal with people, especially those who test your patience or morality. He believed that bad people were a part of life, just like thorns on a rose. You don't curse the rose for having them. You accept that they exist. Marcus reminded himself that no one does wrong on purpose. They act out of ignorance. You can try to teach them. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But that's not yours to control. You can't demand a world free of selfishness, cruelty, or arrogance. Instead, you look inward. You remember that you too have blind spots and weaknesses. On another day, you might be the one making the mistake. He urged compassion without judgment. He believed we were made for one another, just like fruit exists to feed animals, and animals return to the earth to nourish new life. We are here to support, serve, and lift each other. To abandon that role is the only real failure. Adversity is also part of the design. Pain, hardship, setbacks, they're inevitable. What matters is how you carry yourself through them. Marcus didn't pray for comfort. He prayed for strength. He didn't hope for an easy path. He prepared to walk the hard one with honor. When difficulty comes, don't complain. Don't fall into self-pity. Stand up. Face it. If it's bearable, endure it. If it's not, pass through it with dignity. Everyone dies. But not everyone lives with courage until they do. Even in his wealth, Marcus was mindful. He didn't condemn possessions, but he saw them clearly. He could have had anything: grand villas, rare wines, priceless art. But he didn't long for such things. He reminded himself often, these things are not who you are. If they disappeared tomorrow, your duty remains the same. He reflected deeply on death, not in fear, but in acceptance. To him, death wasn't the end. It was simply part of life's rhythm. And understanding this helped him live more fully, more wisely, and more present. Marcus Aurelius saw death not as something to be feared, but as a natural duty, just like living. His view was simple, yet profound. Death is inevitable. It's part of the same natural order that calls us to grow, to be good, to fulfill our potential. So while you're here, live fully. Be kind. Be just. And when the time comes, die with dignity. This, to Marcus, was not tragic. It was nature. Alongside other great thinkers, Marcus helped shape what we now understand as Stoicism. The Stoics believed in more than just enduring hardship. Their philosophy spanned logic, ethics, and metaphysics. But at its heart was a pursuit of true happiness. Not pleasure, not status. Those are fleeting, temporary. Real happiness, they taught, comes from within. From virtue, from self-mastery, from living in alignment with reason and nature. They made a clear distinction. Pleasure is external, happiness is internal. Pleasure fades, but a virtuous life, that endures. To the Stoics, the only true failure was to fall short of your potential, to live without striving to be wise, courageous, just, and self-disciplined. In other words, to live without virtue. To be great, truly great, is not a luxury. It's a moral obligation. It's your nature. Stoicism teaches that wisdom and peace are found by focusing only on what you can control. Your thoughts, your actions. That's it. You can't control people. You can't control fate. But you can control how you respond, how you show up in the world. The Stoic virtues, wisdom, courage, justice, temperance, are not grand ideals. They're daily practices. The Stoics did not fear pain, poverty, or even death. Their only fear was moral failure, betraying their principles or falling short of who they were meant to be. Marcus once wrote, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." He didn't just say it, he lived it. Marcus was betrayed by one of his most trusted generals, Avidius Cassius. Cassius declared himself emperor, leading a rebellion against the man he once served. It was a devastating betrayal. Marcus had every reason and every right to be enraged, to retaliate, to make an example of him. But he didn't. He stayed true to his Stoic principles. He didn't rush into vengeance. He didn't allow emotion to cloud his judgment. He acted with clarity and restraint. He moved to suppress the rebellion, yes, but with minimal cruelty. And when Cassius was ultimately assassinated by his own men before Marcus could reach him, the emperor didn't celebrate. He didn't gloat. He mourned. He even showed mercy to those who had supported Cassius. That is real strength. He demonstrated that true power lies not in domination, but in self-control. Not in retaliation, but in compassion. By responding with dignity, Marcus preserved his integrity and set an example not just for his time, but for all time. One of his most powerful insights was this: the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. Despite the chaos and hardship of his reign, plague, war, rebellion, political unrest, Marcus understood this truth. Your mind shapes your reality. Your thoughts shape your soul. So even in adversity, he guarded his inner world. While leading brutal military campaigns during the Marcomannic Wars, Marcus endured harsh winters, uncertainty, and long periods away from Rome and from his family. The temptation to collapse into bitterness or despair must have been strong. But instead, he chose discipline. He chose clarity. He chose perspective. He knew that greatness wasn't found in comfort. It was forged in struggle. And through every trial, Marcus Aurelius practiced what he preached. Control your mind. Act with virtue. Rise above. That is Stoicism. Not a cold detachment from life, but a courageous embrace of it. Not indifference, but intention. And in a world full of chaos, confusion, and noise, that message is more relevant now than ever. In these writings, he reminded himself constantly of the core virtues: courage, patience, wisdom. He reflected on the fleeting nature of life, the preciousness of each moment, and the importance of remaining true to his principles. By consistently focusing on these virtuous and constructive thoughts, Marcus cultivated a resilient spirit. His soul, as he put it, became dyed with the color of these thoughts, shaping him into a leader of wisdom and integrity. Throughout turbulent times, his leadership was defined by calmness, composure, and fairness. He inspired both soldiers and citizens alike, not through force or fear, but through example. This aspect of Aurelius's life demonstrates the profound power of our thoughts on our well-being and behavior. By nurturing virtue within, he preserved his integrity and led effectively, even when faced with great challenges. It's a clear reminder that personal growth begins with inner work and self-reflection. Our thoughts truly shape who we are and guide how we navigate the world. Now consider one of his most striking quotes. "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." During the Antonine Plague, Marcus's stoicism was tested in the harshest way. Fear and panic spread as resources dwindled and daily life was thrown into chaos. While politicians and philosophers debated endlessly about leadership and morality, Marcus chose a different path: action. He believed that words without deeds were empty. So despite personal risk, he stepped forward and led by example. Marcus organized and funded public health measures, sanitation efforts, medical aid, to slow the disease's spread. He showed deep compassion and empathy, providing support to the afflicted, allocating resources to help families of the deceased, and ensuring aid was distributed fairly and efficiently. His actions reflected the Stoic virtues he held dear: duty, resilience, and a commitment to the common good. By choosing decisive action over endless debate, Marcus Aurelius proved that a good leader is not defined by lofty discussions, but by tangible, compassionate commitment to the welfare of their people. True goodness, he showed, is found in how one lives and acts, especially in times of crisis. His response to the Antonine Plague earned him the respect and admiration of his contemporaries. People saw him as a beacon of stability and virtue amid chaos. Through his deeds, Marcus demonstrated that true leadership and morality come from embodying virtues, not just talking about them. This chapter of Aurelius's life highlights a timeless truth: living out our values with integrity, focusing on what must be done, and acting decisively. That is what defines us. The Stoic ideal of being a good person isn't just about words or theories. It's about embodying the virtues we believe in through our actions. This story serves as a powerful reminder. True impact comes from living those values, not just debating them. Now let me share one of my favorite quotes from Marcus Aurelius. When you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to think, to enjoy, to love. These words capture a practice that carried Marcus through the challenges of his reign as a wise and compassionate Roman emperor. Picture Marcus waking early in his tent on a cold, foggy morning. The air is crisp, and faint sounds of soldiers stirring signal the beginning of a new day. But instead of rushing headlong into his duties, Marcus takes a few quiet moments for himself. He sits up, closes his eyes, and breathes deeply, reflecting on the simple yet profound privilege of being alive. A wave of gratitude washes over him for this new day, for the opportunity to do his best. He thinks about his ability to reason, to make thoughtful decisions, and to lead his people wisely. He feels fortunate that his mind can solve problems and guide others. Wrapping his cloak tighter around himself, he takes comfort in its warmth and listens to the distant bird songs. These small, everyday details fill him with peace and quiet happiness. His thoughts then turn to his family back in Rome. Though he misses them deeply, he is grateful for their love and support. This warmth in his heart fuels his strength to face the challenges ahead. When Marcus steps out of his tent, he smiles warmly and greets his soldiers, encouraging them to reflect on the good in their own lives. His positive energy is contagious, lifting their spirits despite the cold and the looming battles. Throughout the day, whether discussing strategy with generals or sharing a simple meal with his men, Marcus finds moments to pause and appreciate what's good. This habit of gratitude helps him stay calm, focused, and centered, strengthening his leadership. One evening, after a long, exhausting day, Marcus gathers his soldiers around the campfire. He shares a simple but profound message. Every morning, remember how fortunate you are to be alive, to think, to enjoy, to love. This mindset, he explains, is a source of strength that will carry them through even the hardest times. The soldiers listen closely and begin their own practice of morning gratitude, finding small blessings each day. This shift in perspective helps them stay strong, united, and resilient in the face of adversity. By focusing on gratitude, Marcus not only maintained his own strength, but also inspired those around him to do the same. His practice of appreciating life's blessings showed that even in the hardest moments, there is always something to be grateful for. This timeless lesson, finding strength in gratitude, continues to inspire people across generations. In conclusion, Marcus Aurelius's life and teachings offer us enduring wisdom to navigate our own struggles. By striving to live virtuously, focusing on what we can control, and meeting adversity with resilience, we can create a life that is both fulfilling and meaningful. Marcus's example reminds us that true greatness isn't measured by external achievements, but by living in alignment with our highest values, by cultivating strength, kindness, and integrity from within. If this journey into Stoicism resonated with you, please like this video and subscribe to the channel for more thoughtful Stoic mindset mastery. And I'd love to hear your reflections. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your engagement empowers us to continue bringing content that enriches your life. Thank you for watching.